Here's a book called The Productive Graduate Student Writer that Krista, a PhD student in the Faculty of Science, who is also enrolled in our Science Communication Certificate Program, recommends you to read. Watch our talk on it. Hello, Krista. Thank you so much
Hello.
for talking with us today about one of the books that you read on science communication. So tell us about yourself a bit and also tell us about the book.
As you know, my name is Krista Shoftsall. I am in the Department of Biological Sciences doing my PhD. This book here, just so you have a kind of a picture of it. I don't know if they've updated the cover since I bought it or not. I found it just by chance and I absolutely loved reading it, and it really helped me through my PhD.
I wonder, why did you read it? Like, what was the need that you felt that you wanted to read it, and how long did it take for you to read it?
I'm a big procrastinator. I love procrastinating. It's almost like a bad cycle, especially in terms of writing. I wanted to try to help prevent my procrastination. And so I saw this book in the bookstore and I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I picked it up. And then when I started reading it, I was actually quite shocked. It was such an easy read. It's actually a very fun read. She makes jokes. She really understands grad students. It was really easy to read. I read it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think procrastination is one thing a lot of grad students struggle with. What parts did you find most useful, especially in your research?
Start writing in the morning. So she has like a couple of different types of writing strategies. And the one that I've adopted is to write early in the morning and to write every day. And because of that, I've become way more productive because every morning I get up and I write the first thing in the morning. Another thing that really helped me was her editing advice, the 20-80. You spend 20% of your time writing and 80% of your time editing. And this actually really helped me during my candidacy exam. You don't have anybody else looking over your papers. So I just did this really bad first draft, like didn't even like edit anything. Everything was spelled completely wrong. And then I just kind of started editing from there. I just got all of my ideas on paper. And that's what she really recommends. She's just like, write a first draft. It's going to be horrible. And then after that, you just edit it. Everything's there. You just have to keep editing it afterwards.
I'm going to state the title of the book again. It's The Productive Graduate Student Writer: How to Manage Your Time, Process, and Energy to Write Your Research Proposal, Thesis, and Dissertation and Get Published. That's a lot of promise. So I wonder, have you recommended this book to other graduate science students? How has that impacted their professional journey or their academic journey?
I've recommended it actually to a couple of undergraduate students that were writing research papers. It's like some honor students. My feedback from it was, yeah, I actually really liked it because it kind of helped them through their first paper, because it goes like how to write proposals, so it also was getting them prepared for their next step for their master's programs, because they have to write proposals, and it goes through how to write a proposal too in here. And it's not scientific based, it's for anybody. And she even states, writing is, historians write, psychologists write, scientists write, everybody writes.
Yeah. I wonder, why do you recommend this to specifically graduate science students?
To be honest, I don't just recommend it for graduate science students. It's for all graduate students. But if you want to talk about specific science grad students, it is great because it really can help you set goals for your writing and also help you get through the process. So if you are afraid of writing, like she addresses the fear of writing, she addresses writer's block. And how she addresses it, she's like, it's a made up thing in your head. Just it doesn't exist. So here's some steps to get past the so-called writer's block. And like she gives all sorts of steps of how to get over the fear of writing if people have the fear of writing, but also how to be more productive if they're already writing really well. It's a book that kind of gives you some tips and hints. And she also has some appendices as well to help you like log your writing, if that helps you to set goals. She has like these little goal charts in the back. So like, here's a word count progress chart.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
So she has like all these little things to help as well. It's a very easy read. She's actually quite funny when she writes. And it's like the chapters are like, some chapters are like 4 pages, some chapters are 10. So some chapters are actually extremely short as well. And it's just a very easy read. And I definitely recommend it like when you're starting your program, or even if you're already in your program and would love some writing advice. Because I read this like my 3rd year. So
it's amazing to know that it would help in any stage of someone's journey.
I read this my 3rd year. And I read this actually right before I did my candidacy exam. And I was really, really happy that I did, because it helped me so much to get through my candidacy exam, because it helped me schedule, it helped me with my editing process. And like, her advice for editing process was basically to get out of the environment that you wrote it in. So you take it out of the mindset and also print it out and read it out loud, so you can actually make notes on it. And so you like basically change your mindset. So when I wrote my candidacy exam, I wrote it at my desk, but when I edited it in my kitchen. She also recommends reading it backwards. So you go paragraph by paragraph, but backwards. And it really does help, because you're like, oh, this sentence doesn't flow very well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's like messing with how your mind would usually perform, tricking it into seeing things differently. If you were to write an introduction for this book, or kind of introduce it in a written format to others, what would you emphasize on the most?
I would emphasize kind of what she emphasizes, that writing isn't scary. You just need to have a plan. Writing's not stressful if you make it part of your routine and you just do it every day. Writing shouldn't be stressful when it's part of our everyday lives and jobs. It helps to prevent writer's block for sure, because then you're just writing every day. And so you just write down kind of where you're at the end of your writing time. You just write it down, and then you just pick up where you left off the next day.
Yeah, for sure. So the writer's name is Jan Allen. I wonder if you've ever contacted her or reached out to her.
No, I have not.
So I wonder, if you were to reach out to her, what would you ask, or are there any questions in your mind?
I would kind of ask why she got this idea. Like, why did she write this book? Like, what made her get this idea to write this book? And kind of, how did she find these strategies in the first place? Like, kind of, were they brought to her? Or did she go to writing workshops? Or did she find this out over her career?
Do you have any final notes on the book? Anything you want to mention?
As I said, this is definitely meant for students. Easy read. There's actually a recipe in the back for when you're very stressed out. She's like, decided to make this recipe. It's a chocolate chip cake recipe.
That would be awesome.
So, I mean, this book is for graduate students with the understanding of graduate students. It's not a complex book. It's not hard to read, simple, easy to read, and it's actually kind of fun.
Thank you so much for doing this again with us.
Yeah, no worries.